In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built my 7-figure Amazon FBA business from scratch with no prior experience, and how you can build your own successful Amazon business in 2025 as a complete beginner. By the end of this video, you'll know my proven 3-step framework for finding winning products, launching them successfully, and scaling to consistent, profitable 5-figure months without needing a huge 5-figure investment. My name is Andreas Dale, and I've built multiple Amazon FBA businesses that collectively generate over $100,000 in monthly revenue. I started with under $1,000 back in 2019 and hit my first 6-figure month within 18 months. Now I consistently generate over $1 million profit per year and have helped over 50 students build their own successful Amazon businesses, with 20 of them crossing over $5,000 in monthly profit within their first 90 days. And I'm not some guru teaching a theory I learned online from other gurus who have no idea what they're talking about. I'm in the trenches every single day, managing my own Amazon business and constantly testing what actually works in today's market. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact steps I took to build a 7-figure Amazon business and break down how I picked the right product, launched it profitably, and scaled to a $100,000 month so you can follow the same path. Before I jump into the technicals, let me give you a quick backstory of how I got into Amazon FBA and why I decided to go all in on it. I started back in 2019, and I literally started with a borrowed $500 from my girlfriend at the time because I knew that I needed to make this work, and I was saving for my job, but that was not cutting it, and I needed to put something towards this business. This wasn't the first business I tried, to be honest. I tried Shopify and got scammed by Fake Guru, ran ads super unprofitably because, well, I had no marketing experience, so what could I expect from that? And did drop shipping on Amazon, which was against Amazon's terms of service. Got my first Amazon account banned. So I went through all trials and tribulations to finally land on this, which was a lot more sustainable and just made more sense. The reason it made more sense is because you could actually scale something like this. All I needed to learn was how to source these name brand items for lower and sell them for higher on Amazon. And it's a long-term business model, right? Because eventually you're ordering from suppliers or websites that you frequently use, and it's just rinse and repeat. You order the product, it sells out, then you reorder more, and you just keep growing your catalog like this. My research process in the beginning was I was just honestly looking across my pantry and just household items, because I realized since all of these things are considered name brands, it's like, okay, what do we frequently restock on? And then I'd also, when I would, do my weekly grocery shopping, I'd see which aisles had like the most empty things and what kept getting, restocked the most. And that was necessity-based things like toilet paper, Dove deodorant, food items, spices, things like this. So all these niches became attractive to me because I realized these are things that people don't just buy once, they buy them repeatedly. And it really lit a light bulb in my head because, well, if I can sell these things online where people already shop repeatedly, it's just going to be something that's over and over and over and consistent. Rather than buying something from China and creating a trend that eventually dies out, I was doing what was happening in front of all of us, but nobody seemed to really catch, which was everyday items. My biggest moment where I saw this click was everybody was freaking out about the pandemic, and I know y'all can all remember toilet paper was like sold out in a bunch of markets. I had listed my first amount of toilet papers on eBay, and I saw them sell out super quick. And then I took that same concept and put it on Amazon. But then I realized Amazon has like so many different things that you could use and sell, and people were already shopping on there because they were scared to go to the grocery store. That's when it really made sense. I started venturing out to other categories, and then I started learning Amazon terms like buy box, HEPA, ASINs, all these words that are specific to Amazon. Like ASIN is the barcode that's specific to an Amazon listing. So if you were looking at, for example, a 3-pack of toilet paper, that specific ASIN is going to be unique to that product that is in that specific quantity and flavor and color and all these sort of things, right? I really just started diving into the entire Amazon game. Once I understood and how Amazon actually worked, my next step was getting set up the right way. And that's where a lot of beginners get tripped up. Step 1, getting set up the right way. And honestly, this is where most people slow down because they begin to overcomplicate things. Here's how I got it done without wasting any time or money. First, I opened up my Amazon seller account. So all I needed for that was just my ID, my bank statement, and they asked me a few personal details about myself. After all that was filled out, I went ahead and got my LLC, also uploaded my EIN, because these are all things that Amazon needs. And about like a week, my Amazon store was open, and then I had to start the ungating process. What ungating means is basically approval to sell brands like Lego, Sony, Jif Peanut Butter, for example. All these brands require approval to sell on Amazon. So I had to get the proper documentation and invoices to get approved. I started off with grocery because, as I saw, that was just what I saw repeatedly being moved in person and online. The mistakes I avoided was reselling stuff in the original packaging from where it's bought, right? So if I'm buying something from Walmart and reselling it on Amazon, I would not sell it in a Walmart box. That's exactly how you get your Amazon account banned. So what I would do is, if it is something that's truly being sourced for lower, I would repackage it in my own boxes and put it in the proper way for it to be sent to Amazon, and then I send it to Amazon. So it just gets received the FBA and it gets sold out. Once I understood that, I started transitioning into wholesale and seeing how I could get these items in bulk so I could save even more and start scaling my business. The common error I see with people today is that they don't know how to get approved for these brands, so they just give up and they don't get creative, right? Just because you have one product selling well, that doesn't mean that their competitors aren't selling well either, or similar items to it. So I really started looking at it from all angles, and I kept things lean under 1K because I would buy 10 units of a test buy of an item and then 10 units of a different item, so I could diversify horizontally and sell those all out and then scale up and then start the process all over again. So basically, I'd get small amount of units of something that's selling a lot on purpose to be safe. Then once I see the proof of concept with my own eyes, I see it sell out, then I transition into other stuff. Once I was set up and ungated, the next thing I did was shift my focus to looking for products that had high demand, which brings me to this. Step 2, finding my first winning product. At this point, I was watching a ton of YouTube videos, and it seemed like most sellers were just picking random products and hoping they'd sell. I wanted to do the complete opposite. I needed a way to confidently validate that the product I picked would actually sell. So here's exactly what I looked for when choosing my first product. So I would focus on items that had reasonable competition and a good amount of demand with healthy profit margins. So at least $2 to $3 profit on the item and a few people selling it. To make this easier to see and save me a lot of time, I use these softwares Keepa and AZ Insight. Keepa basically is like the stock market of Amazon. It shows you the entire price history, and AZ Insight shows you the real data behind the items, how much units it's moving per month, how much sales it's making, all these sort of things. So that helped me find at the time this cat food that was selling really well because people love their animals as much as they love humans. I started finding good products, but before this, I would literally have to spend so much time without using the softwares, looking up the items and then doing all the math myself, and it just honestly wasted me so much time where I could just use a software that automates a lot of it. So what made me confident about buying this cat food in this example was that I saw it was moving a lot of units. I saw I could make at least $15 profit on it after all fees, and there wasn't too many people on it. Like, I think there was only 3 to 4 other people doing FBA, so I knew I could capitalize on it if I was getting it at a good price. And that brings us to step 3. Once I had a product I knew would sell, the next step was launching it and figuring out how to scale without burning out. So once I had these items, I literally repackaged them myself at my garage at the time, and I sent them to Amazon. So everything was launched. I had the ASIN, I put in the ASIN into Amazon, and I sent my shipment out. The reason I was able to sell these out fast is because I was winning the buy box on it, because I was selling at the same exact price that my competitors were selling at, and I had a little bit more stock than them. And the ones that were doing FBA were running out of stock while I was restocking. So that meant that I had the best price, the fastest shipping time, and a good amount of stock to win the buy box, which is all what Amazon's algorithm likes. So they would literally feed me more sales. What didn't matter as much as I thought it would was reviews, because I thought that I needed a bunch of reviews on my account to compete with these top sellers, but that was just a lie. I just needed those 3 things that I just mentioned. And one thing that I stopped doing that honestly helped me scale faster was overloading on an item before I had proof of concept on it. So doing test buys on it is always the best thing to do, because you see how much it actually moves and then you double down after that. And the only thing that changed between 5K a month to 50 50K a month profit was literally how much items I had in and the systems I had. Instead of packaging myself, I transitioned to a prep center who would do all the work for me, and that way I could focus on sourcing, so higher leverage things. Yeah, the main thing that I was ignoring was how much cash back I could get from credit cards using this business, and that eventually started to add up, and so I paid attention to it. And I also saw leaks in my business where I could save money on things and eventually make more money. So in this case, it was, working out bulk deals with prep centers so that they could give me a better rate per unit to prep the item. So instead of them charging me $2 a unit to prep my item, I was able to negotiate and get it down to 75 cents a unit, which makes a big difference in my profit. I feel like the most false belief I had in this entire thing was that competition was a bad thing and there was saturated and there's too many people doing FBA. When you realize there's literally millions of products on the platform and there's always a gap between what you're getting it at and for how much higher it's selling on Amazon, I couldn't unsee it. And it was such a lie that I had been fed, to be honest. So that was one major thing I had to unlearn. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of everything we covered in this video, I put together a free training that walks you through this entire process. Whether you're just dabbling into Amazon FBA or starting completely from scratch, this training will give you a clear path to follow. To sign up, click the first link in the description. Inside, I'll show you how to find winning products backed by real demand, my 3-step launch system that generates sales from day one, the exact automation tools I use to run the entire business with just 2 hours per day. Also, if you're ready to invest in yourself and speed run your success with Amazon FBA, you can apply to work with me directly through that same link. My team and I will build you a personalized plan based on your goals, budget, and your starting point to guide you to your first $5,000 to $10,000 profit month within 90 days. We're very selective about who we work with, so if you're looking for a get rich quick scheme or you believe in shortcuts, do not apply. We can guide you, but we can't do the work for you. And because we personally guide each student through the process, we can only take on 10 new students each month. So if you're serious about building a profitable Amazon FBA business and think you to be a good fit, click the first link below, watch the free training, and apply to work with me one-on-one. I'll see you next week.